I guess. The point is, we've been working on some upgrades and we're launching our channel so that way you get the best content as always. And we hope that you enjoy it. And please go back and look at some of our past content. We have links to news stories, beautiful daily motivational quotes, and we hope that you check them out. And please share them. Our guest for today is Miss Valerie J. Lewis Coleman. Not only is Miss Coleman a published author, but she is also a coach and a mentor for other authors and encourages them to self-publish and teaches them how to brand themselves and get self-published and teaches them how to brand themselves once they are published. She calls it a left brain, right brain thing. And I think you'll be very fascinated with the conversation that me and Miss Coleman had coming up next. You're watching live in the DTV. Stay tuned. All right, we're recording. Mike is good. You look good. I look good. All right, we are ready. We are live. You're watching live in the DTV. We are joined today by Miss Valerie J. Lewis Coleman, who is a best-selling author and an award-winning publisher. Valerie J. Lewis Coleman serves professional speakers and experts to magnify and monetize their message by publishing quality books. With over 15 years of experience in the book business, she has published over 130 authors and helped thousands of writers navigate the challenges of self-publishing. This expert divulges industry secrets on avoiding the top 5 mistakes made by 95% of new authors. Pricing your book, how to sell, identifying shady publishers. Valerie hosts citywide book events, which have connected almost 700 authors to avid readers. Her dynamic presentation and knowledge of the business takes writers from pen to paper to publisher as they master publishing to make money. penofthewriter.com, and she has a YouTube pages as well. And Valerie J. Lewis Coleman serves women who struggle to experience a fulfilling relationship by revealing the forbidden secrets of the goodie box to attract and keep lasting love. With over 20 years experience in family relationships, this expert researches men to give advice on how to go from mess to magnet, including identifying the 4 types of male hunters, avoiding 70% of men who only want the goodie box, and winning the heart of Mr. Right for you. You can find her book at thegoodiebox.com, and she is here joining us from Dayton, Ohio. How are you, Miss Valerie J. Lewis Coleman?
I am well, Jabril. How are you?
I am good. So let's get started in this. We see that you are not only an author, but you help other authors get published as well. So first, how did you get even into writing?
Well, my journey into becoming a published author started years ago when I was helping a friend who was jumping into the business. She's very good at writing, but she had some shortcomings when it came to the business side of things. So she brought me on board to help her. I managed inventory, helped her get her books of her pricing down, the cost of printing down by thousands of dollars, free bookmarks. I just really helped her do all the left brain stuff. I'm an engineer by degree. And so that really transitioned those problem-solving skills to the book business to save clients money, get out great product, and then hopefully in the long run, make money.
Right.
And so that's been going on for a while. But my very first book, Blended Families and Anthology, was published in 2006, although I was helping authors years before that in getting through the process, understanding the business, making sure they were taking care of all the essentials when it came to publishing a quality book.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Blended Families, and that was your first book back in 2006. Okay, and you told us a little bit about yourself. You're an engineer by trade. So how does one go from being an engineer to being an author? And how does that left brain, like you was talking about, that problem solving, help you to become, to be better sell your book and sell your authors?
So one goes from engineering to the book business when the factory closes. That was my situation.
Oh, okay.
I was an automotive engineer, just like you're familiar in Detroit, automotive. I was an automotive engineer for General Motors, then Delphi. And when our plant closed in 2007, instead of embarking on another corporate job or trying to work as an engineer for someone else, I decided to launch into my publishing company full time, Pen of the Writers. So the plant closed a year after my first book published, and I've been working towards that ever since. And the funny thing about being a left brain dominant person, which is where critical thinking, problem solving, reasoning, logic reside, is the fact that I can use those skill sets to save my clients money, make sure that they are positioned for success. And it requires a different side of the brain than writing. Writing is very right side, emotional, intuitive feelings. And so what happens for a lot of my clients is they are very right brain dominant, and they end up missing the mark on how do I make money? How do I publish my book correctly? How do I get in touch with my readers? So I kind of bridge the gap between the creativity of the right brain and the logic and business side that's required to be successful in the left brain.
Right, right. Because you gotta step outside of yourself. And I remember when we were talking about some of your associates and colleagues as we were before we started the interview, and you mentioned a writer who we're both familiar with, Miss Sylvia Hubbard, and she said that she told me one time she said that authors and writers, well, authors, published authors, are introverts pretending to be extroverts. So you got to get that, because we're the creatives that we want to sit and want to create and want to make our work. But then if you want to get published, well, then now you have to learn how to sell yourself, how to market, how to do all those, again, like you said, right-sided brain things that come with analytical skills and problem-solving skills.
Absolutely,
So
yes. Sylvia is very correct with that, because I'm an introvert. Nobody believes me. But there's a term out there called an ambivert, which means you are an introvert with extrovert qualities when you need to implement them.
Right.
So I prefer to be at home. Doesn't mean I'm shy. It just means that I don't do real well with small talk or idle chit chat. I get my energy alone, whereas extroverts are energized by being around people. That is not my testimony.
Absolutely, absolutely. I understand. I consider myself an introvert. People are like, what, with you being on radio? And look, I do that for the purpose of what it is. But
absolutely,
after that, look, I'm to myself most of the time. So you're also a published author yourself. How many titles have you published?
Of my own books, I have 10 titles, and I've published books for over 130 authors. Right now, I'm working on 9 projects I'm working on right now. So hopefully by the end of first quarter 2021, I'll have 6 to 8 more books to add to the roster. But 10 of my own.
Okay. So for other authors, you help publish, and that's depending on the writer. Yes. Yep. So that's your publishing company. So tell us a little bit about your books and your style of writing and publishing.
Absolutely. Well, I've written in several genres. I have my novel, The Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, relationship advice that your father didn't tell you and your mother didn't know, which is my only novel, and it's won numerous awards, and it's designed to really help women better understand themselves, fall in love with themselves, value themselves, and then understand men to attract not only a man, but a man of quality that would then be interested in a committed monogamous relationship. So even though it's a novel, it has real relationship advice that I quote from men. Sometimes they knew I was crying and sometimes they didn't. They call it ear hustling. Is that what y'all call it now?
Ear hustling.
Okay, so ear hustling. And then one of my other more popular books is my children's book, Oh, the Things I Can Be When I See Me, which is based off of conversations with my granddaughters, Lyric and Samara, and their desires and information about them being in various careers. Right now, they are 6 and 12, but at the time of the book, they were much younger. And so I wanted to have conversations with them about all the things they can be. I'm an engineer, which is a white-dominated field. I left engineering, white male-dominated specifically. I left engineering and went into teaching math and then became the entrepreneur. And so what I found is I wanted them to understand that you don't have to just be, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you don't have to just be a teacher, or you don't have to just be a stay-at-home mom. And not that anything is wrong with those professions, but what do you want to be when you grow up? Let's talk about that. And so they've had different aspirations, and here recently now with Kamala Harris being vice president, that's another option I can add to my book, because I really wanted the little girls, specifically my grandbabies and other girls of color, to see women who have done what they say they want to do and who look like them.
Yes.
So I give examples of these women throughout the book. And then the most recent version is I published it in Spanish. I don't know, but same book.
See it.
Same book, but in Spanish. So I have the Spanish version of that as well. And then the other, I would say, of my most popular titles would be my book on publishing. I have a book for how to publish, and I have a book on the strategies of writing. And both of these books, they're not available on Amazon. They are available on my website. And I typically have them when I go speak at live events. So when I spoke at Sylvia's event, I had it. Tanita Johnson, I mentioned her. So it is written also in Detroit. So I have those books available for people in attendance, or they can get it off my website. Those are like the most popular books that I have right now. My Blended Families book came out in 2006, deals with step families. It's still, we still have step families from
Yeah.
here to eternity. We're going to have step family dynamics and the challenges with those. So that book is also available. Then my other books were specialty type titles, anthologies I published for other groups. I did a book for a high school, the Kingdom Waiting, which dealt with high school students and their stories of overcoming loss and triumph and the young spirit. And I have another anthology, The Weight of Success, How to Become an Overnight Success in 7,300 Days, and then Tainted Mirror. So I have tons of books that I've done for myself, and then lots of books, like I said, I've done for my authors. There's a couple of my authors in the background.
Oh, those are the authors that you published. That was some of your success stories.
Right.
Okay.
Just a couple of them.
Yeah. So if you can share some of those with us, like what are some of the most famous authors and most famous titles that you've been a part of?
Well, I would say my most famous author would be Vanessa Miller Pierce, who writes for 3 traditional publishing houses. She writes Christian fiction, Christian romance. And she was the author I started with back at the very beginning. We don't work together as far as me helping her with her business now, but she was my claim to fame, if you will. Dr. Townsend, who was the image up at the top, she is my top selling author of all time. And her book is It All Started When I Stopped Using Lotion, One Woman's Journey from Chaos to Calm. And she was talking about how she was so busy being mom and wife and business person and sorority sister and church member and Girl Scout troop leader, all these other things that she was neglecting herself.
Right.
And so this book talks about her journey of understanding I had to take care of me first, with lotion being a metaphor for all the little things that we as women do that we quit doing for ourselves so that we can take care of others. And then the other book you see there is Andrea Foy. Her book is Higher Power, How to Find, Get, and Keep a Job. She dealt with a lot of customer service type issues, and she was meeting people who were trying to be interviewed for positions. And she talked about how they were dressed and how they arrived late and they mumbled their answers, just all the different things that kept them from getting jobs. And so that book, both of those books have been bestsellers. And I have tons of other books. I have a book by Pastor Darrell Ward, which is Letters to My Son. He was retiring as pastor from his church here in Dayton, and he started writing notes for his son who was going to be succeeding him. And as a result, then he decided to take the message that he was giving for his son, the notes for his son, and compile it into a book. So he's been helping Christian leaders and pastors understand how to navigate the challenges of ministry and how to have a church and what all to do, with your church. Then I have a millennial. Well, she was a millennial, and she's aged out now. Skylar Marshall wrote the book OMG, Operating as a Millennial with God. And she talked about her process of understanding who she is and who she represents and becoming a better person in life in general. And her message is to young people. So that's some of the most recent books. Some of the books I'm working on now, I have a celebrity chef Keith Denard Jones. His book, Well Done, talked about his process of being a boy growing up in the hood of Detroit. He's from Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, and his process of becoming an executive chef. Now he lives in Denver. He's had TV shows. He's traveled the world as an executive chef, preparing foods for Michelle Obama. He prepared meals for the Winter Olympics, Kentucky Derby. He's done all kinds of stuff. And he hailed from Detroit. Now he's in Denver. So his book, Well Done, will release hopefully first quarter this year.
Okay. So you've got quite a track record. I've just kind of jotted down some of the things you're saying, but you were going from just one author to the other and the author. So you're just one author to the other. So you've been doing this clearly a while and have had much success with this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. When did you first see that this was something that you could do full time and first notice that, hey, I know I'm seeing something, a pattern here with myself as an author or in other authors, and I think I can really service and help them and better to sell them and produce them?
Well, I started helping Vanessa in the late 1980s, 1990s. And so by the time her book came out and I was traveling with her, we kept running into people who were asking, well, how do I publish a book? Or they had a book and before I was getting into publishing, I was like, ooh, that book is awful. It just, things were all just messed. You could tell like they did it themselves.
Right.
Almost to the point where they did the cover themselves. They went to, some printing company and had them print the book. It just was horrible. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the more I traveled with her and the more I ran into people, the worse I saw these books were getting. Then I started working with Vanessa, learning more about the business and realizing that people were overpaying for stuff. One lady I met while traveling with Vanessa and spent $150 for her copyright. Now, at that time, copyright was only $30. Now it's $65. So instead of paying $30 and doing it herself, she paid somebody $150. That's not a problem. I mean, that's the nature of business. There's going to be markup and profit. However, 500% markup for something she could have done herself really easily, to me, was a waste of money. So at that point, I was like, okay, I need to start helping these authors. I need to position them. So long before I published a book, about 2 years before I published my first book, I started holding conferences and workshops. That's the engineer teacher side of me. Let me show people how to do this the right way as self-published authors so that they can make money, so that they put out a quality book. Because my objective for my clients and those who I teach in live workshops and classes, virtual, etc., is to make sure their book debuts at what we have dubbed or has been dubbed level 3, which means it's been professionally engineered and designed to land paid speaking engagements, media attention, and sell books. There's like 32 million books on Amazon, Jabril. I'm sure you probably know that. 31.5 million of them never sell.
Wow.
Because they're junk. It's sad to say, but there's a lot of issues with the books that keep them from being able to be sold. And so I position my authors and my clients specifically to make sure that they can generate revenue while they're changing lives. It's a twofold mission for me: make money, change lives; make money and change lives. So that's really when it started. Started having workshops first, and then as I was having workshops, my whole goal was to teach people how to do it. There's a quote that says, "Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man a fish, feed him for a lifetime." Allowed to, right? So my whole thing was, let me show you how to do this. Well, as I'm doing these workshops and conferences and bringing in speakers, I've had Lynette Calfani-Cox and Christopher Murray and New York Times best-selling speakers. Dan Pointer came to my conference to position people. I was at one of my workshops and the lady, she raised her hand, very polite. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I have a question." "Sure, what can I do for you?" "Okay." She said, "This is too much. I like all this. There's a lot involved." She said, I can't even, this is too much for me. What would you charge me to publish my book?" Hadn't thought about publishing for other people, just going to publish for myself. But then I realized that was the aha moment for me at that workshop in 2006. Not everybody is willing to put in the work to do it right. Not everybody has the time to put in the work to do it right. Not everybody wants to learn all that left brain stuff to make them successful, and people are willing to pay for my expertise. So at that point, I started publishing books for other people. So 2007 was the launching of Queen V as in VaLereie Publishing, where I publish other people, and that's where those 130 plus authors have come through.
Amazing, amazing. And that's a wonderful journey that you've been on, it sounds like, especially when you're going talking to people, and then just that aha moment from that one conference or one question that came up. And with that, I'm sure you probably get this question a lot, and it's two questions actually. What advice would you give to someone that says, "You know what, I'm ready, I want to do it, but I want to do it and I want the adventure of it," to someone who says, "I'm going to self-publish, make my own covers, put my own books out, maybe sell through Amazon, but maybe they'll do that drop shipping thing," which personally I don't recommend, but to each his own. What advice would you give to someone who wants to self-publish though?
Well, my advice to self-publishing is absolutely do it. A lot of people want to try to get traditionally published, that pie in the sky, that Oprah's couch experience. And what happens is traditional publishers tend to shy away from unknown people who haven't sold any books, people who don't have a platform. They shy away from them because that makes you high risk. They don't know if you're going to be able to sell books. They don't know if your book is worth, the momentum. And at the end of the day, if you don't have a significant presence on social media, you are a risk to them. And so I tell most people who come to me, I recommend self-publishing. That way you can learn the business. You can build your platform, your social media platform, as we were talking about, the branding and positioning that's necessary. You understand, not only do you learn the business, but now you can better negotiate a deal. Once you've sold 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 books, you prove to them, and that's of the same title. They're looking for single titles, for those kind of quantities. That proves to them that you have the wherewithal, the skill set, the platform, the following, the momentum to be able to not just publish a book, but make money from your book. So self-publishing positions you to be able to learn the business, make money, create a platform. And if your desire is to attract a traditional publisher, then you're better suited to do that when you are self-published first.
Okay. And then that's the other side of the question. And you kind of answered it, like you have to have some popularity, have some traction first. But what advice would you give to someone who doesn't say, I don't want the headache, I don't want to deal, I'm not, you know, that's not me, that says, I want to go through a publisher and I know I need a team to help me produce this.
Mm-hmm. So if you have someone, like most of my clients are those type of people where they want a quality book, but they didn't want to take the time to learn it or figure it out or do it. Like, you know, most things you can do anymore, you can find on YouTube or go online and search, you'll find all kind of information. The problem is not all the information is valuable. Not all of it is correct. And secondly, there's so much information, you can become overwhelmed. So for people who want the book, but don't want the process of doing it themselves, that's a service that I offer through Queen V Publishing. So what I do with my clients is those covers you see there and all of my covers, I don't do book covers. That is not my strength. I am not a graphic designer. I'm not an artist. I know what a good cover looks like. And when I work with my clients, we talk about the psychology of colors. We talk about fonts. We talk about the image. I direct them on even how to place their name on the book, not how to place it, but what version of their name to use. Married women versus single, you know, those type of things make a difference. And then we talk about the cover content, the back cover content, your bio, your website, your synopsis. I pull all that together with my clients to make sure that they are positioned to generate revenue, get interviews. I've got clients who've had international interviews. Dr. Townsend was on the Maria Shriver report. She was able to post an article for that. They solicited her. They saw her book, wanted to know more. So, you know, there's all kinds of things you need to do. But with that, even though I'm publishing the books or my team publishes the book for the client, it is still their book. So this is a collaboration where we work together to make sure that I have positioned you to be able to get those paid speaking engagements. Most of my clients want to host live events or get new coaching clients or use their book as a business card to get whatever, you know, their objective is. And so I have them complete a bio, a questionnaire that allows me to understand what their objective is. What do you want to do? Who's your ideal reader? What's your message? How do you plan to reach them? And we use all of that throughout the process to make sure that when the book is done, it sounds like them, it looks like them, it reflects who they are in the business and the brand that they're trying to create. And most importantly, it's a quality book, something they're proud of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the last question, of course, if they're watching this interview, they should just absolutely just go with Miss VaLereie Coleman. She's gonna get you covered. But for someone who's kind of still up in the air and looking at different publishers, can you give some advice on what to look for that says, no, this person doesn't really know what they're doing, that they're gonna mess you over, or they're just too new at this and they're just not ready to, you know, take on authors yet?
Right. Well, when you start talking about publishers, there are different levels of publishing. And when you're paying someone to publish your book, that's referred to as a book producer because you're paying them to do the work. Within that category, there are subcategories. There is subsidy press. With the subsidy press, they charge crazy fees. And then what they're saying is, we'll cover the marketing, you cover the production of the book. Well, marketing is intangible. You may or may not sell a book based off of marketing. Just because they write a press release doesn't mean they're writing it well, doesn't mean it's SEO optimized, doesn't mean it's going to reach your ideal reader. So you want to shy away from subsidy presses. Then there's also print on demand publishers or vanity presses. Vanity presses are those companies that way overcharge and way under deliver. I heard of a young lady who spent $15,000 and got 100 copies of her book. Way too much. So what I tell my clients is, you can publish the book yourself, editing, cover design, and all the different elements. I tell them to plan for about $2,500 to make sure that it's done correctly. And if you work with somebody who's going to publish your book, if they're talking about charging you $7,500, $5,000, you know, when they start getting into those kind of monies, you have to be very cautious and concerned, because for that amount of money, I would say research, Google them, search them out. What are their ratings on the Better Business Bureau? What kind of complaints have customers filed for and against them? I've worked with clients whose publishing company, I can't think of I think I want to say Durance. I don't want to say the wrong name. So we'll just say one of them I know one of them Trafford or Tafford, something like that, starts with a T. It was a father-son team. They were stealing millions of dollars from authors. They are now incarcerated. for
Wow.
what they did to authors. So one of the authors I was working with was like, how do I get my book back? So I'm trying to give him legal advice. I'm like, sir, I am not an attorney. I just play one on TV. Here's what I recommend you do.
Right.
You know, so I gave him some recommendations, but research them. Don't just jump on them because they make you feel good. Make sure you get to talk to the lead publisher and ask questions about what are my upfront costs? What are my back end costs? What type of edit do you do? What's extra? What's included? Will I get a customized cover? Will I have actual developmental editing? Those are the type of things you need to make sure you understand. Who maintains the rights of the book? I'm surprised at how many authors I work with who signed over the rights to their book and didn't even realize that's what they were doing.
Wow.
So those are the type of basic fundamental questions, but do your research. Make sure they are viable, make sure they are reputable, and make sure that you are willing to spend the time and the money invested in their publishing options. It's a lot of work.
Right. Absolutely, it is. And then, well, my last question goes back into the self-publishing part of it. So let's say someone says, okay, I publish it myself. I'll find a nice person to design it on Fiverr or something, and then I'll look to someone to help me write up my bio. But they're still technically self-publishing. When you get into those companies like the Ingrams and the Light Source and the Amazons and the Barnes and Nobles that have sub companies, like you said, that will technically publish it for you, but they're gonna take a percentage out of every book sale. What's your experience with that? Is it a good thing to do? Is it, what do you recommend with those?
Absolutely, that's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it's as viable as your ability to find quality service providers. So Fiverr is a great place to go, but even with Fiverr, you have to know as an author, what are all the components you need on your book cover? If you hire a book cover designer, they will give you what you ask for. So if you don't know to tell them you need an embedded price in the retail price embedded in the barcode, if you don't know to tell them to put your bio synopsis and classification category, if you don't know to tell them those things, they'll give you what you asked for, which may not be the right thing. So by all means, do that. I recommend even for some of my clients, because I also teach people how to mentor them on how to write and publish their own books. So I have some clients who I want to do 10 books. So I said, well, instead of paying me to publish all 10 books, pay me to publish the first one through the process. So when you get to books 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can do it yourself to save yourself some money. And so that's an option as well. But by all means, do that self-publishing. Just make sure you are contacting and connecting with reputable service providers. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and everybody has advice. And sometimes I just have to shut up and not say anything because people will say something like, ooh, that is all the way wrong. But I'm not about to get started in this feed and people start to ask a bunch of questions or, because everybody, again, is basing it off of their own experience, which may or may not be the best way, the optimal way, the right way, the least expensive way to get the job done. You want to be effective and efficient, doing the right thing and doing the thing right. And sometimes it means reaching outside of yourself and connecting with the right people to get you on the right path.
Like that, doing the right thing and doing the thing right. That's use that. And yes, absolutely get on the right path. So make sure that you reputable, you do your research and you get the information needed and you know what you're getting into is what basically it's all about. It's all about researching before you just jump into this thing of saying, hey, I want to be an author. I think someone told me that actually writing the book, and people don't believe it, is the easy part. That's like 20% of the work.
Right. I read a statistic somewhere where writing is 10% of your time, energy, effort, and resources. Publishing is 30%. Marketing is 60%. And that's podcasts and interviews and website and banners and flyers and branding and positioning and all that goes into it, because that's the ongoing part. Once the book is written and published, the momentum to create that momentum and keep it going is where marketing comes in. And that's where the real work comes in. Of course, when you're writing or stuck with writing, you're like, oh, God, this is horrible. What am I going to? Once you get past that and get to publishing, oh, this is costing so much money. I can't. They did this and they tricked me out of that. But by the time you get to marketing, because you can do a lot of work and not see any tangible results.
Absolutely. Well, Miss VaLereie Coleman, we definitely won't hold you too long. We see that you have customers and you have things that you're doing. We're definitely not rushing you off. By all means, keep talking to us and giving us these tidbits, this information, these gems. But But before we let you go, how can we contact you and keep up with you?
So everything for me is pretty much Pen of the Writer, PEN of the Writer. So my website is Pen of the Writer, Facebook, Pen of the Writer, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm forgetting one. Oh, I just did Clubhouse, Pen of the Writer. So all of them are Pen of the Writer, except for my Amazon page and my Goodreads page, which are my name, VaLereie J. Lewis Coleman. But yeah, everything's Pen of the Writer, penofthewriter.com. I was just on GoDaddy trying to figure out why my website is doing some crazy stuff. Again, not my expertise.
Right.
But I got to figure it out. So yeah, Pen of the Writer. That's how you can best find me.
Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Any other advice you like to give?
Sure. First, Jabril, thank you again for the opportunity to be on your show. But most importantly, for anyone who is considering writing, publishing, and marketing a book, by all means, do it. I encourage you to get out there. Like they say, do it scared. You know, don't let naysayers or your self-doubt or lack of knowledge keep you from writing, because there are people and organizations positioned to help you write better, writing groups, editors, etc. When you get ready to publish, now you'll start dealing with some other service providers. But writing could be therapeutic. Writing can change your life. Writing can help other people. Forgiveness falls in, there's so much that can help benefit you personally from writing, that I say, write what you want to write. Worry about the editing later. Writing is right brain. Editing is left brain. Don't be double-minded. Just write. You can always go back and fix it later. So if I had one piece of advice for someone who's looking to write a book and they're in the writing phase, just write. Don't backspace, don't delete, don't erase, just write.
Right. Because it's not going to be right or wrong unless you write it.
Right. There's nothing to be edited if there's nothing on the paper.
Exactly. Okay, Ms. Coleman, again, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to find her at penofthewriter.com. Check out her social medias, which is Pen of the Writer, her Amazon page, VaLereie J. Lewis Coleman. And we look forward to seeing more from you and more positive things from you, and hearing more about successful authors that you've produced and helped create. And we look forward to actually coming on again and talking to us more whenever you feel like it. So feel free to reach out to us. And we'll be looking to keep up with you and follow you on social media pages.
Okay.
All right. So we will let you go. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stay safe and wear your mask.
Yes, absolutely. Stay safe, wear your mask. Thanks. Bye. This episode of Live in the DTV is brought to you by Penny Love Fitness. Penny Love Fitness. Ladies, spring is here and it's time to jump into your fitness game. Well, Penny Love Fitness is making it easy. With virtual classes, you can do right from home. That's right, you can jump into your new body and get in shape right from home. You can sign up for a class today by heading over to pennylovefitness.com. That's Penny Love Fitness.